What happens when you give people the same canvas, the same paint, and the same instructions, and ask them to make a picture? That's the question I explored for my final project, inspired by Taubman's book, Teaching by Numbers, which examines how standardization and accountability have transformed education in the United States. Instead of testing students, I invited my family to work on a paint by number together. I asked each person to paint a section and tell me how they felt, both about the process and about painting with constraints. I also asked them to reflect on their own educational experiences. The process I chose for this project was intentionally open-ended, a freedom often missing in standardized learning environments and in contrast to the rigid, predetermined structure of the paint by number itself. For my dad, the main struggle wasn't technique. It was seeing well enough to follow the design. Sometimes the rules don't account for the learner's actual needs. He also remembered doing creative projects in the past, but here the preset picture didn't give him space to bring that same creativity. While painting, my aunt started talking about her own school experience and how being measured against a standard wasn't just about tests, but about family comparisons too. Her words reflect the same problem Taubman describes, the idea that all students should meet the same benchmarks without recognizing individual strengths or differences. She went on to explain that the problem wasn't ability, it was that the approach never matched the way she learned. In a paint by number, the method is fixed. Everyone follows the same steps. In school, that kind of one-size-fits-all approach can overlook how each person learns best. My other aunt shared how she struggled in a large, chaotic junior high and how she advocated for the environment that worked for her. Her story is a reminder that the right learning conditions aren't the same for everyone, and sometimes students know exactly what they need to thrive.
I just want to finish up the bottom. I'm not even doing all of 11 because it's too much.
It's too much, huh? My son Zephyr started with low confidence. The constraints seemed to feed that self-doubt. Boredom set in quickly, until he decided to work through one full color. This might have been one way to reclaim control, setting his own pace. More than anything, he wanted the freedom to alter the design. That wish for color mixing mirrors the push for flexibility and personalization in learning. My nephew also experienced the same frustration my son felt, but his dad let him know that it's normal to feel that way when faced with a new challenge. Something essential about learning is that we can acknowledge discomfort without letting it stop us. Just as a well-set framework gives artists or students the tools to work through challenges and the space to sit with frustration rather than rush to eliminate it. This can be where real growth happens. My mom remembers getting paint-by-number kits as a kid, but not always with success. She can't quite remember what it was she was painting or if she finished it. Her school memories echo Taubman's critique of directions without support. She also compared the process of paint by number to something slow and methodical. The emphasis on completion, not creativity, made it feel more like work than play. In her own creative work, she's used to freedom. Her feelings capture Taubman's warning that predetermined outcomes limit personal expression. She described the physical tension of trying to stay within the lines. For a brief moment, the effort to do it right overtook her joy of painting. When I asked my third aunt, who is an artist, if she was learning anything from the process, her answer showed how she naturally translates the task into her own artistic language. What struck me was that she didn't see the constraints as limiting, she saw them as clarifying. The rules of the task distilled realism down to its essentials, making the building blocks of her craft stand out more vividly. One of the original creators of Paint by Numbers, Dan Robbins, claimed in his autobiography that he was inspired by Leonardo da Vinci's method of teaching apprentices through numbered patterns on canvas. Who knows, maybe da Vinci was the OG standards-driven teacher, showing that even the greatest masters saw value in learning with constraints, within a structure, before the artist learns to bend or break the rules. Taubman gives 4 reasons for his title, Teaching by Numbers. First, teaching and learning are reduced to numbers, like test scores, dollar amounts. Paint by number does the same thing. Art becomes numbered spaces and matching paint pots. Second, he challenges the idea that all students succeed if they simply follow directions. My family followed the rules. We had fun with it, but we still faced frustration, boredom, and uncertainty. Third, Taubman points to the market's role in shaping education. Like a packaged curriculum sold to districts, Paint by Number is a prepackaged art product sold to consumers. And finally, he questions what's lost when predetermined outcomes replace open-ended learning. Our painting came out right. It was correct, just like the example, but the process left little room for personal voice. Some constraints can inspire creativity. But when every step is predetermined, the process can become tedious, even alienating. Leonardo da Vinci's numbered patterns for apprentices were a kind of scaffolding, a structured way to first see and understand form, color, and proportion. Once those foundations were in place, artists could then step beyond them into their own interpretations. Da Vinci didn't have to answer to anyone. He was trusted for his mastery. Unfortunately, today, teachers aren't always afforded that trust. Instead, they're measured by standards, test scores, and accountability metrics. In this project, I experienced firsthand what it feels like to navigate constraints versus freedom, like choosing my own question, method, and interpretation, which gave me the sense of agency that rigid structures often take away. That freedom of inquiry, I realized, is the true antidote to painting by numbers.